I'm Alec Lace, and you're watching The Rebound with Coach Matt Doherty.
Welcome to The Rebound with Coach Matt Doherty.
Welcome to The Rebound. I am Matt Doherty, and I'll be your host. On this show, we explore remarkable rebound stories of resilience and recovery. We highlight the leadership qualities that emerge in the face of life's toughest challenges, revealing the strength and determination within individuals that inspire us all. With me today is someone who is a father of four, launched his popular podcast, Class Fatherhood, in 2018 with a vision to change the narrative of fatherhood and family life. The show quickly became one of the top parenting podcasts in America due to his interviews with some of the most recognizable fathers in the world, including Matthew McConaughey, Deion Sanders, Tony Hawk, Steve Harvey, and Dana White. Because of the show's popularity, he was invited to be on the field for multiple Super Bowl media days to interview dads such as Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Matthew Stafford. He's also interviewed legendary servicemen such as Navy SEALs Rob O'Neill, Jocko Willink, and Marcus Luttrell. This man was interviewed live on Fox and Friends for Father's Day in 2019 and was featured as the Power Player of the Week on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace. And he does all this while continuing to be a dedicated railroad mechanic, a position he's held for over 20 years, and a part-time Uber driver. With me today is Alec Lace, author of Class Fatherhood, and he's the host of the aforementioned podcast by the same title. In addition, he has a political show called The Alec Lace Show. His podcast has over 3 million downloads. Alec, thank you for being on the show. Tell us about your podcast.
Hey, Coach, it's an honor to be here with you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's pretty much how you captured it right there. It's just focused on trying to change this narrative on fatherhood and family life. You know, back in 2018, when I started the show, I was driving a lot of Uber at the time on Friday and Saturday nights, and I would hear from a lot of the young men every time I told them I had 4 kids. They would look at me like I had 4 heads. And we've kind of in this country gone down that path where young men, they're not embracing that role as wanting to become a husband, wanting to become a father, wanting to become a family man. So I was kind of trying to shift that narrative, that mindset around on them. And that's what led to me, launching the podcast and then eventually, grabbing all these prolific fathers that are out there and just getting them to have that idea that even though despite these guys have accomplished some amazing things in life, whether that be Super Bowl MVPs, Academy Awards, whatever it may be, they say their testimony is despite all that, becoming a father is what's given me the most fulfillment in life. So that's the kind of the narrative I'm trying to get out there.
What was the first show like? Who was your guest? What was the production like?
Well, the first couple of shows I just did, basically they're all audio. I just recorded them sitting on the edge of my bed, talking about topics about fatherhood that I was experiencing with my 4 kids. The first guest that I had that really kind of put the show on the map was 47 episodes in. I had Dean Cain, the actor who plays Superman and Lois and Clark. Obviously, I've become very good friends with him now, but he was the first guy to come on the show, and he really enjoyed the concept. He enjoyed the conversation, and he pushed it on all his social medias, and that helped the podcast go to #1 for kids and family on Apple Podcasts. And then from there, while it was #1, I started to reach out to as many guests as I could, and that's when I grabbed guys like Deion Sanders and Kurt Warner and a bunch of Navy SEALs, and just kind of kept the momentum going from there.
How do you get these guys?
Yeah, I just reaching out, and I'm a faith-based guy as well. So I usually, when people ask, like, how do we get these different guests? I always ask them to read Mark 11:24, which says, whatsoever you ask for in prayer, believe you have received it and it will be yours. So my belief and that I will get the guest is really what helps me to get them the most. But now, obviously, that I've interviewed 750 people on Class Fatherhood, over 150 guests on my political show, the Alec Lace Show. I'm up to about 900 different guests that I've interviewed. So I would say I probably get 1 or 2 guests for every 10 that I reach out to. And the fact that now I have a pretty deep Rolodex of contacts and guests that have been on, that helps you to get guests as well.
Favorite guest? Who was your favorite guest?
It's a difficult thing to say.
Come on, Alec. Listen, you're a Jersey guy. I asked you a tough question. I expect you to respond accordingly.
You know, my favorite one that I did was a Gold Star father of a Navy SEAL, Adam Brown. Adam Brown, there's a book about his life called Fearless. He was a SEAL Team 6 operator who was killed in action. I've read the book so many times, and I actually reached out to his father and interviewed his dad on Memorial Day. And it was a phenomenal, it was the only time I ever got emotional during an interview. His dad got emotional during it. I felt like I kind of knew his father just from reading the book so much. So that was my favorite, my personal favorite one that I had a chance to do. So that's I would have to say that with Larry Brown, the father.
Thank you for being honest. What was the name of the book again?
Fearless. It's written by Eric Blem.
You talk about fathers, right? High-profile dads, good dads. What is the common theme, if you can pick one or two, amongst your guests in terms of their role as a good dad?
Well, to kind of summarize it, Coach, from all these different interviews, I kind of narrow it down, and I'll try to give you like the ABCs of the most common that I get, and it would be A, being adapt. A lot of dads, including myself, you have to adapt to a lot of us. We don't want to embrace change. For most people, if you move their food bowl over 5 feet, they'll starve to death. We're creatures of habit. So you have to be willing to adapt to the lifestyle, becoming a father, but also adapt to your kid's likes. So you might be a diehard football fan. Your kid might not like football. He may be into chess. You got to adapt to what he is into. And then B, I would say bend, don't break. And it's okay to bend the rules a little bit. Allow your kid to make some changes to the rules as long as they don't break your morals. Give him the opportunity or give her the opportunity to push back a little bit and bend the rules a little bit, but don't break. And then I would say C is calm is contagious. Try to remain calm as you can as a father. It helps your wife or your girlfriend. It helps the child. It helps the situation. You may be in a situation where you're heading out the door to get to an appointment, and all of a sudden the baby craps the pants, and now you got to stop and you got to change the diaper, and everything gets put on delayed, and everyone starts to panic. You try to remain calm, and that becomes contagious for the family. So I try to hit on those 3 points, and that's been kind of like the overlying thesis from a lot of the dads.
It's not the first time you've given that answer. ABCs, I love it. What story of fatherhood stands out the most?
Yeah, that's a challenging question. I mean, I'll be honest. I would say somebody like I've done, unfortunately, multiple dads that have had to bury their kids. So somebody like Chris Myers, the legendary sportscaster, he's one of those guys that told a very touching story about that, being in that situation. And not only just that, but what it was like to be a father to your other children while you're dealing with something like that. So I think kind of stories like that kind of rock me a little bit when I listen to them and I hear them, because they come from such a genuine place of of experience and of true pain and passion. So that's those ones I would say.
How do they do it? How did Chris Meyer do it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's he a lot of help through friends, a lot, just a lot of other people that have been in that situation that have helped got around him, that he was able to lean on. I think that's some of the things we do in life, right? When we're trying to do something, we try to find somebody that's been in a similar situation, and you try to listen to them and you try to get advice from them. I know that from being a recovering alcoholic, right? Recovering addict. You try to get around people who have successfully beaten the thing that you're currently going through, and you try to, successful leave clues behind. So you try to kind of get yourself around people that have been in similar situations. And I think that's what's really helped some of these guys get through that.
You're a recovering alcoholic and addict?
Yep. And gambling nut job too. Yeah. The whole shooting match.
It's like the new definition of bundling, right? You can bundle your car and home insurance. You bundle, all those three. I just have the one, alcohol. I was all city drinker back in the early 80s, set records, and then retired and moved down south. So congratulations on your recovery. That's really commendable.
And just to tap into that real quick, Coach, part of this story that I have is that at one point in my life, I got a lifetime ban from Giant Stadium. And then you fast forward, and then the NFL has invited me to the last 6 Super Bowls to come in and interview the players and coaches about fatherhood, family, and faith. So that's the kind of turnaround this whole thing has been for me.
All right. I'm a Giant fan. My dad had season tickets. I saw Fran Tarkenton play quarterback in Yankee Stadium back when they had the Pillars, and then they moved to the Yale Bowl, then the Meadowlands. Why did you get banned from the Meadowlands?
Yeah, drunk and disorderly, fighting. It was a mess. It
You're
was
a typical fan. Hey, that's normal.
Yep. Yeah, believe me, I'm not the only one. And they do that so that you're on the list. So if you ever again get in trouble at that stadium, then you're now trespassing and they can hammer you with that. So that's why they do it. It was a Monday night football game. We got into the parking lot at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were just, we were rolling pretty good by the time kickoff happened. So it was a nightmare and a mess. And my whole life was at that time.
What got you on the right track?
Well, becoming a father, I would say, really helped put my whole life in perspective, gave me a sense of purpose in life. Didn't really seem to have one until I became a dad. That really changed my perspective on just about everything. But I still continue to, drink and do everything. Once I first became a dad, it was a slow process for me. I lost both of my parents in my early 20s. Alcohol, it took my father, it took one of my brothers. I mean, this thing has been, has ravaged our family. And I blamed everything for that. I blamed, my alcoholism, my addiction, I blamed my parents, I blamed my family, I blamed my circumstances and everything except myself. And I think the minute that I started to put myself on the blame list, I think I was able to start heading to the road to recovery with it, So it wasn't an easy journey, but, it's one that was very challenging for me because one of the ones that didn't take first couple of times trying to do this, but I'm in a position now in my life through faith, I would have to say is the number one thing that got me through, where now I don't have any desire. I've lost the desire, which is the greatest gift that I think God's given me outside of my children, is that I don't have the desire to drink. I don't have the desire to get high. I don't have the desire to gamble. I was just at the Super Bowl doing media day in Las Vegas, surrounded by all these things that used to control my life, and didn't have one bit of temptation, didn't have any desire to take part in any of it. So it's really, I'm grateful to God for that part.
Alec, let's go to break. And when we come back, you will discuss one of the most significant rebounds that our country can make. Not you, our country. OMJ Clothing is an elite men's clothing store that provides a vast array of spectacular brands of men's lifestyle apparel for every day. Elevate your business upscale casual at OMJ. Success comes from standing out. The Rebound is sponsored by Sector Spider ETFs, a unique family of exchange-traded funds that divide the S&P 500 into 11 sector index funds. You can buy just the sectors you like or customize the S&P 500 by weighting the 11 sectors to meet your financial objective. Please visit them on the web at sectorspiders.com. That's sector, SPDRS.com.
Alps Portfolio Solutions Distributor, a registered broker-dealer, is the distributor for the Select Sector Spider Trust.
Alec, tell us how our country can rebound in terms of developing better fathers.
Well, I think our whole country is missing two things. I think the two greatest things that are crippling our country right now is the fact that we have a fatherless crisis in our country. We have so many kids are growing up without a father or a father figure. And, we're filling up the prison systems with that one particular type of character, a young man who grew up without a father in the home. So we have no fathers in the home. And also on the other side of that coin is we have no heavenly father in our society. So we've removed the father in heaven. We've removed the father from the home. And those two things have crippled our country. So I don't think no matter what we solve politically, whatever issues that we are facing, if we don't get this issue solved and strengthening our family units, getting the dads back in the home, bringing God back into focus, I don't think we stand a chance in this nation of moving forward or rebuilding anything. We've got to that's the foundation of this country. And if we don't get that, we're not going to get anything else right.
A lot of people talk about there needs to be a separation of church and state. What say you?
Yeah, I would say that this country was founded on Christian principles. That's the basis of our country. Our country, our founding fathers were able to put God first. I think I know our state constitutions, all the individual states, all of them are littered with God throughout them. I mean, this is a Christian nation. That's who we are. And I obviously, they've removed that, that Heavenly Father from our school systems. I think you need to put that stuff back. I think you need to put the 10 Commandments back on the walls in the schools, because look at what's on the walls of the schools today. They got the LGBTQ flag, the Black Lives Matter flag. We have all this other crap that's poisoning the minds of our children. And if we don't get rid of that and put some basic principles back into these kids, I mean, they're not getting it from home, because even, Coach, even the families that are together where you have both parents together, both of them, because of the way the economy is, both of them are working full-time jobs. And so then who's raising the children? The state is raising the children. That's exactly what they want. And then you have the single moms who are just co-parenting with the government. So you have the Department of Education, which is doing our children no help whatsoever, not giving them that bedrock, that foundation to build a successful life on, and they're not getting it from home. So I think we're hanging kids out to dry is what we're doing.
You said they're getting what they want. Who are they in your mind? You're referencing the government and maybe a larger group. Who are you saying when you say, who are you referring to?
Yeah, well, there's many different words, globalists, or you could say the deep state, or whatever it is. The people that hate this country, I would say this Marxist ideology that's infiltrated our country, where we believe, here's exactly what I mean. When you have the president of the United States, like Joe Biden, who says, we have to remember that there is no such thing as somebody else's kid. These are all our kids. That type of language is dangerous. That type of language is Marxist. And that's what we're hearing over and over again from one side of the aisle, and that is the Democrat side of the aisle, the liberal mindset. And so that's the type of thinking. Those are the type of people that are there. We saw that with the Black Lives Matter movement, right on their first page. We seek to destroy or disrupt the nuclear family unit. They hate the nuclear family unit, and they hate this country. And so whatever name you want to give them, those are the ones that are at play.
Why do they hate our country? Why do they want to take down the nuclear family?
I would imagine it's for control. I would imagine because you take you want to have the power in the state, not in the people. I think that's the biggest difference, I think, between communism and capitalist states, right? You have, we as a capitalist would believe that the people know what's best for themselves, put the capital in the hands of the people. I think if you're the communist, socialist, Marxist side, you say the people are too stupid to know what to do with the capital. The capital belongs in the hands of the state. And I think it's the same thing with your family. They think you as the individual are too stupid to know what to do with your kids. Let's put them in the hands of the state. We know what's better for your kids. I think that's the difference in the ideology.
Yeah. Power and control. Power and control. Wow. How do we get it back?
Well, on November 5th is the start. If we don't get it right now, if we don't change what's happening right now in the country, the direction we're going, if we don't get Donald Trump back in office, I don't know how you change. I don't know what you do. You may never get another chance at it. Right now that's it. You got to get all your friends. You got to get all your family. You got to get out and vote on November 5th, because other than that, you don't have a chance.
You talk about giving advice, young men wanting to become dads. In the topics you share: finance, education, discipline, dating and social life, fitness and health, how to become a fatherhood ambassador. Talk a little bit more about those topics.
Yeah, what I mean by fatherhood ambassador really is to try to help promote fatherhood. Like we hear this so much from young men or from dads that are veteran dads will be saying to the new dad, just wait until the kid starts walking. Just wait till they start talking. Just wait till they start driving. And they have all these these negative mindsets that they're putting into these young parents. And I try to say, turn that around, be an ambassador for fatherhood and say, hey, just wait till your kid starts talking and think about the conversations you get to have. Just wait till he starts walking and you can get out there and start throwing the ball around with him or things like that. Try to help promote fatherhood. Don't try to be like a doom and gloom type of guy. And then obviously all of those things and the best advice and why I brought so many different dads on from different walks of life is because I don't know. I don't have all the answers. So it's good to ask these guys. If I'm looking for financial advice, I bring on guys that have had success in the finance world. So I've had all these different entrepreneurs that have come on the show, whether that be like a Jordan Belfort or a Grant Cardone or somebody like that who has had some success financially. I bring them on. What could we learn from them? If it's discipline, I bring on somebody like Jocko Willink, who the Navy SEAL, who pretty much wrote the book on discipline. So that's the idea. When you're looking to try to fill a hole, if you're short in some area of your life, find somebody that's got it down pat and either read their book, reach out to them and get advice from them.
And the vulnerability, a friend of mine once said, vulnerability is the new invincibility. When you admit that you don't have all the answers, people lean into that and they want to help. And that's probably why you've had all these awesome guests on your podcast. Tell me the names of the two podcasts again.
Well, the original one is First Class Fatherhood. That is non-political. We just deal with fatherhood, like I said, finances, discipline, relationships, dating, driving, stuff like that, and sports, whatever it may be. It's only fatherhood based. It's only dads that have been on the podcast, and they're from all walks of life. So the other show, the Alec Lace Show, focuses basically on political issues that are facing parents in America today. And on that show, I bring on everybody comes on there. It's just all political topics on that show.
Let's talk numbers about fatherless homes. On your website, I believe I read more than 1 in 4 children live in a home without a father in the United States. What other data can you share with us?
Well, one of the interesting things is that number has tripled over the last 50, 60 years, right? And so it's a problem that's gotten progressively worse in our country. It hasn't gotten any better. But if you look at all the statistics going down the line as they relate to these behavioral problems with children, all of them line up with the fact that there's not a father in the home. It's the most common denominator, whether it's teenage pregnancy, whether that's dropping out of school, whether that's youth incarceration. All of these things, drug and alcohol abuse, every category that you think is negative, if you start to look at the numbers, you'll find out that the majority, the overwhelming amount of these kids or people that suffer with these things, teenage suicide, they come from homes that have no father. They grew up with no dad in the home. So it's the common denominator in the most worst case scenarios that we have in our country.
Powerful stuff. What is next for Alec Lace?
Right now, being a dad, I got my 4 kids. That's what I hustle on most. I'm doing everything that I can. I'm coaching my kids in sports right now. I'm a class parent for one of my other kids. So that takes up the majority of my time and what I do. This is something I do as a passion of mine, right? I'm a full-time railroad mechanic. I've been doing that now. I'm in my 25th year of doing that. So I work midnights doing that. Kids go to school during the day is when I usually do the podcast stuff. And then after school, I shut all that down and focus on the kids before I go back to work. So it's pretty much around the clock. I'm always busy traveling to do different things with the podcast as well as different things with the kids.
Are you married?
20 years in February. Yep.
You need to give your wife a shout out. What's her name? And tell us how awesome she is.
Yeah, Jessica is the reason why I'm here doing what I do. I couldn't do anything without her. She's my biggest support system. No matter what, any idea I've ever come up with, she's always championed it. I've been blessed by God to have found her, and she's the best mother we could imagine having for our kids. And she's the rock of the family.
Good boy, Alec. Good boy, Alec. That'll serve you well. All right, last question. What question should I have asked Alec Lace that I didn't?
I don't know. Who's the one guest that you haven't interviewed that you want?
Who's the one guest, Alec, that you haven't interviewed that you want?
Donald J. Trump. That's the guy I've been trying to get. I've been chasing him down for 6 years now, 5 years. And it was funny too, is when he was president, I actually got press credentials for the White House. I was there 12 times with press credentials with the rest of the maniacs trying to ask him questions about fatherhood right in front of him. I just couldn't make it happen, couldn't materialize. I've had a couple of opportunities, haven't been able to have it happen yet, but we'll get them.
Well, my money's on you, Alec. Alec, thank you for joining us today and sharing on the Rebound. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Coach. Been an honor.
Leadership is a learned behavior. We all lead in some way, shape, or form. We all deal with adversity. And when you do, I challenge you to rebound. I challenge you to learn and grow. If you'd like to contact me, you can reach me at dohertycoaching.com. That's DOHERTY coaching.com. Thanks for tuning in.
All right.